Guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby and today I have a very exciting video. I recently got the opportunity to interview Lauren Oliver and Jessica Sula on their new show called Panic. And you might be familiar with the book Panic that published in 2014. It's written by Lauren Oliver, and very recently the book has been adapted into an Amazon Prime TV show that is coming out this Friday on May 28th. I got the opportunity to see an early screener for the show and to interview the author herself, Lauren Oliver, who is also a writer and an executive producer for the show, along with the actress Jessica Sula, who plays the character Natalie on the show. If you don't know anything about Panic, let me tell you a little bit about the show. Panic is a new Amazon Prime Video 1-hour drama series written and created by Lauren Oliver. It takes place in a small Texas town where every summer the graduating seniors compete in a series of challenges, winner takes all, which they believe is their one and only chance to escape their circumstances and make their lives better. But this year, the rules have changed. The pot of money is larger than ever, and the game has become even more dangerous. The players will come face to face with their deepest, darkest fears and be forced to decide how much they are willing to risk in order to win. Without further ado, here is the interview. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. First of all, I really admire and respect both of you as creators and people. So this is really a cool
Wow. That's so lovely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gabby.
So I guess my first question would be for Lauren, and I wanted to ask, what was it like to see the story you wrote come to life, and how much control did you have over this project? Because I know you were like the creator, the executive producer, and the writer. So like, how much control did you have over the whole thing?
Well, thank you for that question. I have trouble with the word control.
Yeah.
The two questions are kind of related, because when you're writing for TV, it's not that it's coming to life per se, it's that you're imagining with the life, right? Like the life, literally everything from, the actors themselves, one of whom we're blessed to have in this room, to things like budgets, right, which people might find constraining, but those are part of the creative tool set you have, right? It's and literally like the it's the kind of positive friction between your imagination and what is what is there, what is already there, what is speaking back to you, what is in communication, that is the tool, the palette. So it's really, it was a constant, the drafting and redrafting, it really was, because it feels like a dynamic conversation that's happening between you and the real world. And again, Jessica can speak to some of that from the act. Well, I'm always really curious from the actor side, because what they were able to find and mine in the characters, it's not even stuff that I could have imagined. It's and then rather than work against that, rather than kill that life, it's the job of a creator to kind of nurture it and honor it, right? That was the interesting part for me. I don't know how I could have done all this writing if it was just supposed to be from my head. You know what I mean? So in terms of control, look, I will say, and then I'll let Jessica speak, but it was unbelievably supportive, right? I don't know many studios that would have put a show this big in the hands of a person who has never even had a writing credit, okay? But it couldn't have been done without, the architect, without all of the people who were collaborating, and without the actors who were probably called to do more of the scaffolding and keeping the production together than they meaningfully should have, just given the inexperience of the creator. But I think that we were lucky to have at base a lot of people who were truly aligned about the story that we wanted to tell. What was it like from your perspective, Jess?
It was kind of that thing of, well, I was saying earlier, I was kind of nervous at the beginning, and I think I remember telling you, like, in the screen test, I was like, I don't know what's happening. Like, I hope it's okay. And you were like, no, it's fine. Like, you just go in there, you just keep doing you. And then when we had the chat before production was going, I always have nerves because it's like, how am I going to start crafting this character, particularly when the creator of the world is now also writing the show. That I really haven't had before. So there was like I did feel like a bit of pressure, because you want to be what you want to be the person that you've written. But at the same time, you know, you're always going to have elements of yourself. So you hope that everything just lines up right, and you get the takes that you need, and with you get the takes that you need to construct that character throughout the edit. It was nerve-wracking, that's for sure. And Lauren's like, you're a powerhouse and like such a force, so you just want to do like a good job, you know. So
but Jess was a great example in that the original Natalie they all were. The original Natalie, you know, I don't think people will feel watching it like Heather, for example, in the book would have been intolerable to watch on screen.
mm-hmm.
And yet I think Olivia takes in mind what the real thematic is there, and she brings it. And same thing with Jess. You know, there's a quality to Jess that is, she just doesn't seem ditzy, quote unquote, a word I hate, but in the way that Nat is mistakenly often kind of attributed to Nat in the book, but she just doesn't have that quality on screen. And so then you take what that meant for the character, right? That it meant a certain degree of people, you know, of having depths that people don't see, right? Or being obsessed with surfeit, like a kind of playing a role, and you mine it for the actress. And really ultimately at the end of the day, it does, as long as the themes are there, as long as they're excavating the message of what that character means, then great, you know. And they certainly did.
Oh, I'm really happy that was the case. It's really nice to hear that from like your boss.
I wanted to ask you, Jessica, what did you like most about playing this character, and how is she different from other roles that you've played in the past?
I think first of all, like as a young sort of like Brit, and then growing up and watching a lot of like American sort of genres, and like getting to be in like a small Texas town and wanting to get out, like it was so like fun to explore in your mind and like just think about the things that Natalie does on a daily basis, the music that she listens to, just driving around the middle of nowhere, Texas. So it was fun to just be like a kind of a all-American teen type of, is just, you know, especially where I'm from in Wales, it was great. I love Natalie is a survivor, and I think that was something that I identified with her. She's a lot more like, I think, gusto than me. Like I think she's willing to go out there way more than I am. So that can be hard sometimes, because you try and like rationalize and justify things that your character does, but then you think, no, but this is something my character's doing, so I can't even like really question it. Like this all lines up with the story. And just to be, I think I was saying how Heather Bishop and Nat are, they're not like the popular kids, but they're definitely very like they love their group and they are a unit, and that's something I never had. So that was really fun to play. That was just lovely bonding with them. So that was the cool part, and feeling like a little cool girl sometimes, you know. She was a little sassy. She has those moments. So that was great.
Love it. So one question I had was, if you had to compare Panic to another book or another movie or another TV show, like what would you compare it to? Like, or what would you think it has like a similar vibe to?
Oh, Lauren, you should do that.
Well, I mean, like Friday Night Lights was in some ways kind of a benchmark because of the Texas, and also that it's about football, but it's not really. So in a similar way, Panic's about the game. But obviously Panic then has this whole suspense and mystery element that is not contained. I mean, would that we were so lucky as we Friday Night Lights. I, on the other hand, something that both of you are too young to know, when I was growing up, there was this show that was so meaningful and seminal to a lot of people that, again, would that we were so lucky that it can kind of capture a reality, at least in the lived moments and dynamics, as something called My So-Called Life, which was the first time I'd ever seen. And so obviously, I mean, again, this is the opposite, and that My So-Called Life had no kind of high concept, right, narrative, and this really does. But some of the ways that the kids, you know, again, in their town, and the way that they talk to each other, and just kind of having stuff that they face that you don't often see necessarily on TV, you know, second jobs, I mean, literally things like that. and, you know, people who do drugs around them, but aren't like, that's not really part of the plot. It's just what it is. And people who deal drugs, but they're not horrible people, you know, like some of the, I hope, emphasis on realities that are lived experiences for many people are, you know, again, we could only be so lucky, but My So-Called Life, I remember, is the first time I saw anything on TV that was like, just felt like real teens, you know what I mean? And so, and hopefully at least, even though there's extraordinary circumstances, I hope that they feel like real people, that the characters do feel like real people, because they were certainly real to all of us.
Yeah. Nice. So my next question is kind of another like fun one, but was there any challenges that you would have been like way too scared to actually attempt in real life? Because I have a like big fear of heights, and some of these like things that were happening in the show, I was like, no way, like I could never do it.
Yeah, I was like walking that plank was no. I can't do that. Jump, you know what though? I would have a go at jumping off the cliff.
Yeah,
I think I would, because I know that water's at the bottom. Walking the plank, it was like the lowest point jumping. Perfect. Let me do it. Give me those points. The walking that like beam across like by like the mill. It was that was terrifying.
Yeah.
Was it terrifying when you were even doing it?
Huh?
Like was it terrifying when you were acting, like on the day you had to shoot it? Like what? Well, I know that there was green.
Well, I was lucky because I feel like Natalie, in like the narrative of things, she's doing the challenges, but you don't actually see me do a lot of challenges.
True.
I'm kind of a pedestrian. I kind of like so that was kind of nice. But I remember that day I was like, oh damn, I do not want to go up there. And Olivia was fully doing it.
They made that was a great case where, again, where life, I mean, I had envisioned my head like not that high up, because I was like, yeah, you know, there's other scary things that happen in this episode. And that director, who's amazing, she actually directed the adaptation of my first movie. She was like, no, we're going for scope. So I look and I'm like, oh my God, that is so high. I mean,
so scary.
That was so scary.
So I would have done it all. But I mean, that's kind of what the arc of the series is about. You know, I really didn't give a shit, right? But I didn't really give a shit fundamentally about myself, right? So I really did feel like, who cares? Like, even if I didn't know it was deadly, I didn't care. So, you know, the journey that you go on, and hopefully that Heather goes on in one way, and Dodge in a very different way goes on, is about, you know, learning, or at least to do the scarier thing, which is to invest a little bit in the belief that you do actually have something to lose, and that everybody has something to lose, and that not everything, you know, that certain things, while accepting that there's hardships that people face, that some people, their road is going to be harder than others. We have to understand that it is for unfair reasons. But that, like, we have to invest in the belief for ourselves that some things are just worth more than a coin toss, you know? So
yeah.
Now, like, pretty much anything that asked me to leave my house, like, you know what I mean, or stay up late, I'd be like, forget it.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like, after 11 p.m., I'd be like, what? Yeah.
What am I doing awake? What am I doing?
Boy.
That's terrifying to me. Yeah.
Gotta get my Z's.
Oh man. Well, I guess to follow up with one of my questions from before, how was writing for television different from writing a book? Like, how is the process different?
That is cool to know.
I mean, I don't know. I lost the ability to write. So now it's all just endless redrafts. You know, I mean, again, you're in communication with things as they're changing. And so one of the things that it's very different in the end. On the one hand, you're, I think, just sheer pace, right? You know, books don't cost money to anybody but you, the author. Right. And so things change. I mean, things are shifting every day. You try them out and they don't work, or, you know, that location falls through or whatever. But all of those things in a well-plotted story, they actually matter, right? They actually matter to each other. So everything requires redrafting of almost everything afterwards,
Yeah.
and sometimes even before. So, you know, if you put together all the drafts I've ever done of this, it would be, first of all, it would be a 90 episode season, and it would also be 100-hour episodes each of like every a possible way that things could have gone, but also every single storyline of every single person, like 20
Yeah.
years from the past. And it would be very boring. So we're glad we didn't do that. But again, it's kind of like a mobile, you know, like a hanging mobile.
Mm-hmm.
And literally every element is changing the balance of everything, and things are changing all the time. So it's really rigorous. It was a very difficult.
Sounds it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey. Let's see. So were there any scenes that you were like super nervous to film, Jessica, where like your character had to do something that you were just like extremely nervous about?
I I was, you know, kind of nervous doing the jump sequence because, well, I wasn't nervous like ahead because, you know, I try and just take it sort of day by day. But, you know, it was the thing of when they were getting our reaction shots, there's nothing under you. You're actually very safe. So it was just, I was really hoping that I could show a sense of fear. And then I was getting really in my head and nervous about it because I'm like, you know, yeah, it's not real. You know, I just have to now imagine that cliff drop. And it's a shame that they couldn't get that when I was actually standing over the cliff drop. You know, it was a lot more like logistical because you want everything to be as truthful as possible.
Yeah.
Scenario. And then there's like, you know, I don't know. I think I was fairly lucky with the scenes. Everything was like challenging enough, but I kind of took it day by day. So I try not to think about it. I don't know if that's good because it means I'm not really like planning. I would go through.
Were there any scenes that you, or like lines or things like that, that you particularly looked forward to filming or that you really liked and you're proud of?
I think it's a very sweet scene. Me and Bishop on the trampoline. I thought that was really lovely. And it was just like one of the later days of the shoot. We just come back from COVID. It was hard because it's like Texas heat and we all had to wear masks and be safe. And I'm sweating as the seconds roll by. But it was just nice and peaceful and the day before we did like a trampoline safety thing. We were like doing little like tricks and stuff. And that was really cool. And then I loved all of the group stuff. And I really love filming with Mike because he's such a kook. Like he's like serious, but then like, you know, I feel like we both have a sort of a similar sense of humor. So like having those moments and building a scene with him was always really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, to wrap things up, just for my last question, I'm just curious, are there any plans for a sequel for the book, or like, is there any plans for a second season for the show, or like any current projects that you're currently working on?
So I had wanted to write a sequel years ago. We won't get into the publishing. Look, we would be so lucky to have a sequel. If we do, there's no shortage of, well, I mean, again, game is played every year with new seniors, but there are certainly things that happen in this year's game that presumably have a big impact on the characters' lives. But again, the first step is if everybody loves it, then we will. I will say, like, I just got to do these cool Audible things, short stories that are actually take us back in the past. I know, Jess, don't worry.
Those are so cool. Sorry, I love those. Just FYI, I was so excited about seeing that. Sorry, I just had to go off.
Now, I mean, we have to, but those are cool because they also show how much is still to be mined, even from the past, right? I mean, you know, in season 1, you hear all the time that nobody knows how the game first began, but I do. We would love to do more short stories like that. I would love to have Jess voice one because some of the actors voiced 3.
That would be a dream come true. No pressure. It's fine if not. Just letting you know, that would be amazing.
Anyway, so for all those things, again, I would love to. I think there's a lot here.
We'll see. Hopefully. Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me and for being a part of this. And yeah, I'm really excited for everyone to see the show. I think it's a lot of fun.
Oh, yay. Thanks so much. I think so too. It was a real hoot to watch. Like, so I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Gabby.
Yeah, thanks so much.
I like your room. I love all the books. Reminds me of my
thank
room.
you. That just about wraps it up. Thank you so much to Amazon Studios and Glasstown Entertainment for this incredible opportunity. And please make sure to go and check out the show when it comes out on May 28th. I think it's a really fun and exciting show, and I can't wait for everyone to see it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye.